Hey, this is Mitch Rothbard from Castro Valley Fitness. How you doing? You might be wondering why I am standing here with no shoes, no socks, and my pants rolled up over my knees. Well, I had a request from one of our members to do a video on feet, and it's role in pain, posture, and performance. Just so happened those were three P's in a row. So I want to make this quick, so we're going to go over some real basic stuff very quickly, kind of give you an idea on how to improve all three of those things just by looking at your feet and how they function. So let's talk about posture first. So we know that posture is related to all of those things, to pain and performance, okay? If you have bad posture, it's going to lead to pain. So how do you check to see how your feet relate to your posture? Well, what I always have our clients do, one of the first things we do is I'll have people close their eyes and march in place for about 5 seconds, okay? When they're done, I'm looking at the position of their feet. So what I'm usually going to see is one or both feet turned out at some angle, okay? So what I want to see is, just for the feet right now, is I want to see both toes pointing straight ahead, okay? If I see one turned out, I know that there's some kind of dysfunction happening starting with the feet or the hip or something like that. Something's going on. We need to figure out what that is. How that can relate to pain is if you turn one foot out. Let's see what happens with your knees. So say I do my walking and this is what I see on my left side, okay? So I see my foot turned out. That's pretty obvious to see. What might not be so obvious to see is what's happening with my knee, okay? So if you notice, I'm doing this kind of a little over-exaggerated. Usually it'll be a little more subtle, but what I'm doing here is, you see how my kneecap is pointing straight ahead even though my toes are pointing out? That's a big problem, and that over time is probably going to lead to a decent amount of knee pain over here, or maybe even over here, depending on how my body compensates on those things, okay? So that's kind of an easy way. So after you walk, if you have knee pain, that's an easy way to check to see if something's going, one possible cause of that is, close your eyes, do that walking, kind of see how your feet are related to your knees, because your kneecaps, even if your feet are turned out, which is not great, where the knee pains really could occur is if your kneecap should be basically going right over your toes, okay? Very important. That's just kind of one example. There's some others there too. So let's talk quickly about performance. So we do a lot of squatting, deadlifting in here, very important movement patterns. But what I'll talk to people about a lot is, let's act like your foot is a tripod, okay? So I say heel, big toe, little toe. What we want to do is we want to actively grab the floor with our feet, okay? Now if you do that, just stand up, try that. If you do that correctly, you're going to start to feel some tension coming through our hips, through our hamstrings, through our glutes. So that's another issue. If you have some kind of knee pain that can kind of sneak up. Like just this morning I had a client who was doing squats. She said they were hurting her knees. We had her do this drill. Grip the floor, heel, big toe, little toe, kind of pull the floor apart a little bit. You're going to feel a lot more tension coming through here. Suddenly when you squat, instead of just sitting on the quads, which is what you do if you're really loose up here and those knees are kind of shaking around, what you're doing is you're activating your hips, your hamstrings, your glutes, all these things, just by acting more actively with your feet, okay? So this is just some real quick examples on how your feet can help. Your feet are very important. A lot of people wear these big fluffy shoes with big fluffy soles. They feel like they're walking on a cloud. What happens when you do that is your feet, there's muscles in your feet and they start to turn off. We need to turn them back on again. There are things in your feet called proprioceptors. And what those things do is send a signal to your brain. Every second of every day, we're getting a gazillion signals going from our whole body right into our brain. A lot of that starts with your feet when it comes to movement. So these proprioceptors tell you where you are in space. If you're walking down the street and you accidentally slip on a pebble or a curb or something and you go, oh, you don't have time to think about how to react to that. The body's just going to react to that. The better your feet work, the better your proprioceptors work, the better your body's going to function. So we got to turn those things on if you want to move better, if you want to feel better head to toe, okay? Again, this is very simple. It's a quick 5-minute video, but I hope it'll give you kind of a sense on the value of your feet, how important they are. Get those shoes off. Try to walk around at least in your house without shoes on if you can. And just try to feel, where is your weight? Are you even? Are you onto your toes? Are you onto your heels? Are you even left or right? And that can give you a big hint on what's going on with your knees, with your hips, because obviously if my knee's turned out, my hip's going to be turned out as well, and my back's going to be turned out. It kind of go right up to the to the shoulders, just because something going on with your feet. Okay, so if you have any questions, please let me know. We can help with these kinds of things. Talk to you soon. Have a great day. This is again Mitch from Castro Valley Fitness. Bye.